And it's time for the business segment here on Joy News Prime with me, Beverly Broom. Straight into our stories. And total value of loans secured through the collateral registry reached almost 6 billion cedi at the end of June this year. Cash, inventories and stock of goods topped the list of items used to secure loans from financial institutions for the second quarter of this year. This was revealed in the Collateral Registry's second quarter report issued by the Bank of Ghana. Reacting to this development, finance lecturer at the University of Ghana Business School, Dr. Benjamin Amwa, said the new trend will allow entrepreneurs, especially females, have access to finance to boost their business. He spoke earlier on Business Live.
It is very interesting and it is very good in the sense that, you see, the movable assets is an indication that we are moving away from using land and buildings as the sole driver of collateral in support of loans. How many businessmen and women, despite their nice ideas, commitment to work, have buildings and lands available that they have ownership over or titles over that they can present as collaterals to support a lending proposition? Many of these businessmen and women do not have it. So if the trend is now moving towards movables like inventory and cash, which are good indicators of economic engagement, then it is a better way of measuring economic activity and giving out loans than to rely on buildings and land. We should also not forget that because you are making more use of inventory or movable assets, the female portion or percentage of our population that are engaged in economic activities, who by our cultural system are in many instances not mainly engaged in what I would call high-level economic activities because they don't have land and buildings, now can use their cash and inventory as collateral to support their lending. So also the females going forward will have a lot more in terms of access to credit if the trend towards movable collateral is what we are going to see going forward. Because if the buildings and the lands are the main component of collateral, then most of our females will be cut off from that supply of credit. But thank God we are seeing a change in trend, which gives every gender the opportunity to have access to loan when it comes to cash and inventory.
Now, the International Finance Corporation has signed a €45 million loan to the Sunda Group, producers of home care and personal care products in Ghana. According to the Regional Director of West Africa at the corporation, Dalia Khalifa, the financing is geared towards expanding the manufacturing sector. She was speaking at the loan agreement signing in Accra.
The International Finance Corporation's loan to Sunda Group is meant to pave way for an expansion of home care and personal care products to meet demands in the market and boost exports. The IFC has been financing many economies on the continent. According to the Regional Director of West Africa at the corporation, Dalia Khalifa, the financing will also help create jobs.
The kind of products that Sunda brings to the Ghanaian and neighboring country markets are critical for consumers, and we believe that these kinds of activities not only are important for the end product, but also they add critical jobs. They help in re-engaging Ghanaian economy so that it can recoup a little bit of what has happened over the past few years, but also expand into the future. And so we feel that partners where IFC can provide financing, such as Sunda, is really our mandate and what we aim to achieve.
Managing Director of Sunda Ghana, Michael Ye, mentioned that the investment is timely and would aid them in increasing production and exports.
We realized this African continent, it has a great potential. Actually, all of the consumption is upgrading, and with economy coming back, to normal, we realize it's going to be the fastest moving economy. So with this investment given to us, we'll be able to expand more. Okay, we are going to invest this into our production lines. We'll expand our production lines so to increase our annual productivity. And so we are able to export all of the products manufactured here in Ghana and also in Africa to domestic markets and to the neighboring markets.
The Sunda Group currently exports 50% of its products to neighboring countries on the continent.
We do agriculture now, and cocoa farmers are calling for a 72.5% upward adjustment of the farm gate price of cocoa beans from 800 cedis to 1,380 cedis per bag for the next cocoa season. Ghana Cocoa Board announced that the 2023-2024 cocoa crop season will start from this week, Friday, September 8, as against the initial date of October 1. Ahead of the official announcement of the new farm gate price, the Ghana Civil Society Cocoa Platform has organized a press conference to table their concerns. Topmost of them is ensuring that there is an increase in the price, which they have been selling since 2019.
Ghana are always filled with expectations in September as they prepare for the opening of the cocoa season, with the announcement of a new farm gate price in October. However, there has been a turn in events as the Ghana Cocoa Board moved this year's internal issues with marketing of the commodity. In anticipation for the day, the Ghana Civil Society Cocoa Platform held a press conference to dictate the expected farm gate price. Letitia Yankee is a member of the platform.
Based on the working assumption of the Producer Price Review Committee, PRRC, which aims at ensuring that farm gate price is pegged at a minimum of 70% of the net free on board FOB price of cocoa beans. GCPP is of the firm opinion that farmers in Ghana should be receiving a minimum of 22,080 Ghana cedis per ton, which is equivalent to 1,380 Ghana cedis per bag. That is 62.5 kilogram of cocoa beans. This figure was arrived at using the lowest projected values available, including the LID of $400 per ton as agreed.
Co-coordinator of the Ghana Civil Society Cocoa Platform, Obed Owusu Adai, said the living income differential of $400 is a facade, as the amount has dropped to $25.
So before 2020, Ghana, Cote d'Ivoire, we were enjoying what we call the origin differential or the country premium. And the cocoa farmers here will know that even after the season had ended, Cocoa Board gives them bonuses. And those bonuses were as a result of those origin differentials and country premiums. Fast forward to 2019-2020 season, when Ghana and Cote d'Ivoire instituted the living income differential of $400 per ton of cocoa. What happened after that was that the market reacted. What the market did was that in 2020-2021 cocoa season, the country premium actually went into negative, to the extent that today, as we speak, it is just about $25 per ton of cocoa. So what the market did was that they gave with one hand the LID of $400 and took with the other hand the country or origin differential of $400. So the net effect is that it negated the potential benefits that farmers were going to enjoy from the LID.
The Ghana Civil Society Cocoa Platform is an independent campaign and advocacy platform for civil society actors in the cocoa sector.
Now, some stakeholders in the agri sector have taken prudent steps to increase food production in Ghana to help attain food security. According to Chief Executive of HJA Africa, producers of OFA Fertilizer, Henry Abraham, the company is committed to producing an efficient and climate-friendly organic fertilizer for farmers to increase their yields. He spoke at the 3rd Annual Stakeholder Forum in Agri held in Accra.
The 3rd Annual OFA Stakeholder Forum focused on how OFA can help both big and small agribusiness farmers to increase profits, as well as address climate change issues. The forum also aimed at determining challenges faced by players in the rice value chain. In an interview, Chief Executive of HJ Africa, Henry Abraham, said some synthetic fertilizers are accounting for the low production recorded by farmers, hence their resort to produce quality and organic fertilizer to support farmers.
Essentially, offer does no harm to the climate. That may not sound that exciting on its own, but the truth is synthetic fertilizers are possibly the worst single product on the planet for the climate. Something like 3% of greenhouse gas emissions, global warming gases, come from synthetic fertilizers, partly because it takes a lot of energy to make them, partly because it takes a lot of energy to transport them. You see all those ships on the high seas carrying bags of fertilizer, and partly because once you use fertilizer in the soil, nitrogen-based fertilizer, NPKs and so on, some of it is not used by the plants but stays in the soil. Microbes convert it to nitrous oxides. Nitrous oxides are 300 times more dangerous for the climate than CO2. So those three things together mean that synthetic fertilizers are probably the worst single product on the planet for climate. So if you can reduce their use, which you can with offer, and save money at the same time. We're not asking people to spend more. We're saying save yourself money and save the planet at the same time.
Agro-Eco member of International Federation of Organic Agriculture Movement, Willem Albertus, added that the use of harmful and wrong fertilizers could have adverse effects on the environment and food production.
The trouble is that we use a lot of chemical inputs. And not only that it is bad for the planet as a whole to produce those chemical inputs, but it's coming into the environment. And when it comes in the environment, you have all other kind of terrible things happening. So if you don't use it, it's much better. Now what we see here with OFA, you can do that. OFA is nature-based, it's organically certified, and it gives an enormous good result. So that's why I'm saying if you shift to organic agriculture and you use the right inputs, organically made, then I think as a whole, not only for the profit, but also for the planet, for the human, it is much better.
Farmers were implored to adopt the right fertilizers and practices to improve agricultural production.
Now, Ghana is becoming the first African country and second in the world to begin the issuance of licenses for timber exports under the Forest Law Enforcement, Governance and Trade Scheme. This is in spite of the country grappling with persistent concerns of forest degradation due to illegal logging and mining activities. But the Forestry Commission says it has instituted measures for strict compliance of tree harvesting regulations, including traceability in line with the European Union's Voluntary Partnership Agreement. Emmanuel Bright-Kweku of our Environmental Desk has more in this report.
Officials of the Forestry Commission taking a European Union delegation through tree marking and tariffing deep in the Bobri Forest Reserve in the Ashanti region. The activity is part of processes undertaken by the Commission to ensure timber traceability as the country readies itself to issue EU-approved license for the industry. The license is an implementing scheme of the Voluntary Partnership Agreement Action Plan signed between Ghana and the European Union in 2009. The Forest Law Enforcement, Government and Trade Scheme controls, verifies and licenses legal timber for both domestic and export markets of the European Union. John Alote is Chief Executive Officer of the Forestry Commission.
We are here to practically see the processes that the Forestry Commission and the district go through, how we take the measurements, why we take what we take, and the processes in terms of the environmental governance here. We're able to explain some of those things to them. This forest also has 2 contractors working here. Because they are working here, they also make sure that they ward off any miscreants who would like to illegally harvest trees from here. So the private sector people operating here, the Forestry Commission itself, and then the local people, together we are able to maintain the sanity of the forest.
It's Global Watch revealed Ghana was the country with the fastest depleting forest cover globally due to illegal logging and mining activities. The EU timber regulations aim at reducing illegal logging by prohibiting EU operators from placing illegally harvested timber and derived timber products on the EU market. With the country grappling with forest degradation, EU Ambassador to Ghana, Aishad Razali, reiterated commitments for forest conservation.
I feel very solid of ability, on the identification of even individual trees identified in specific plots, and I have to say this is quite a solid system. We have a common interest with Ghana to work together to ensure a suitable and more sustainable exploitation of the forest, and I'm sure we will reach something which is agreeable to everyone in order to preserve these riches and to benefit for the entire population of the country.
After the trees are harvested, they are transported to the mills to be cut into different shapes and forms for export. Managing Director of Logs and Lumber Limited, Avidas Jagalian, believes access to the license would expand their market exportations globally.
Ghana, we have good name because Ghana is a country where, as I said, we have, I think, 4 companies in Ghana whose products are certified. They come from legal sources. And today you cannot sell in Europe or anywhere in the world, except maybe Middle East and China, but mostly in Europe, US, they need certified, even Middle East, they need certified timber.
The delegation also paid visits to the Traditional Council to address their concerns as part of the final phase for the action plan. For Joy News, my name is Emmanuel Bratkweku.
Now, the 3rd clinic of the EcoBank Joy News Habitat Fair is expected to offer product at prices significantly below the market rate. Now, that is the assurance from the General Manager for Sales and Customer Service at the Multimedia Group Limited, David Max Fuga. According to him, the decision to host this 3rd mini-clinic in Tema is due to the increasing number of housing projects in the Tema metropolis. Max Fuga also mentioned that regulators will be present to educate and inform patrons about the process of acquiring a house.
To do with the Habitat Fair is to create a platform for all those who are within the housing value chain to showcase their products and services to property seekers and to anybody else who is interested in everything housing. This year, we decided to expand beyond the traditional areas. We've always been at Achimota Mall, we've always been at West Hills Mall, we've always been at the Janshi Mall, Teshinungwa. But this year, we realized that there's a lot of development taking place in and around Tema. And so we decided to move to Tema to give opportunity to property developers, to property seekers, to those who are interested in the ancillary services, roofing, shades, furniture, everybody. People who are within that catchment area to have the opportunity to shop for their needs at one place. So we are looking at the Tema Township itself. We are looking at Boom, Pram, Dowenya, all the way to Chopoli. And then the Afienya side, the Michelle Camp side, part of Nungwa, part of Teshi, part of Spinters Road. There's a lot of development taking place there, and we believe that those people need to be catered for. You don't need to drive all the way to Accra. You don't need to spend precious time searching for the things they want. So we are bringing Habitat Fair to their doorstep. So they just have to walk in to the Tema Municipal Assembly and then shop for everything that they want for their housing projects. If you walk into the Habitat Fair at the Tema Municipal Assembly from 15th to 17th, you can be sure that whatever you're going to purchase there will be far less than the market price. One other thing is that we are ensuring a variety. And so you are not only going to see the real estate developers, you're going to see everybody in that value chain there. And so that's another plus for the Tema Fair that did not happen at the two other fairs or mini fairs that we've organized so far. This time we are bringing some regulators. Okay, fortunately we are doing it within the assembly premises. We are bringing the regulators who will also be there to guide people in acquiring properties. For us, it is very important. Yes, you want to acquire property, but you need to be guided. And so we are making sure that the regulators are also there to provide those services for people who will need guidance in property acquisition.
Right, so the EcoBank joinees Habitat Fairs in partnership with EcoBank, the Pan-African Bank, and the Plan City Extension Project, rent to own and sponsored by Elegant Homes and General Constructions Limited, where quality meets value. Global Lighting, your solution to quality lighting. Syntax Tank, air strong, air tough. Springfield Estates, where dreams are built. Clifton Home, beautiful homes, wise investment. The Kensington Heights, Airport City Kumasi by HDG Homes Limited, a new benchmark in luxury living in Kumasi. Virtual Security Africa, complete security solution. DBS Roofing, your roof experts. Virtual InfoSec Africa, security solutions by design. Saint Gobain, making the world a better home. And that's how we end business tonight. For more business news, you can log on to myjoyonline.com/business. I'm Beverly Broom. Thanks so much for your time. Sports is next with Razak Musbah. Please stay.